Akhila-rasamrita-murti.
Yes.
He's speaking on the first verse of the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Akhila-rasamrita-murti Sri Krsna.
Hare Krishna. 20 minutes, right?
Yeah. That's like your Bhagavad Charana.
Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Ittadalaya Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Sayam Rupa Goswamayam Tadati Swahantikam Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we are very fortunate to be here in Vrindavan Dham and at the bank of the Jamuna River in Gopinath Bhavan. And so by the causeless mercy of the divine couple themselves, Sri Radha-Swami Sundar, and then especially by the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is the combined form of Radha and Krishna, and who has come to give the Yugadharma, the chanting of the holy names, and he has given Braj Bhakti. And he has empowered his followers to write transcendental literatures, to excavate the lost holy places of Braj. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself, he came one time to Braj. He did Braj Mandal Parikrama, and especially important for us is that he revealed Radhakund and Shamakund, which at that time was lost to the vision of the common man. And we know that Radhakund is the most holy place in the universe, as told by Sri Rupa Goswami himself in the Akhila-rasamrita, and of course confirmed by many great personalities. Yatharada Priya Vishnustasyam Kudam Priyatata Sarvagopisha Saivakya Vishnurantyanta Vallabha. Famous verse explaining that Radhakund is not different from Srimati Radharani, and explaining that amongst all the gopis, Srimati Radharani is the most dear, Atyanta Vallabha of Krishna. So, Srila Rupa Goswami, as we know, is very dear to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale. So he has come to establish the desire of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And that is actually to establish the Yugadharma, as he did, but then specifically also to write transcendental literatures and expressing or writing in the literatures the mood of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, what he actually came to give, Braj Bhakti, and especially Unat Ujjvala Ras, especially Gopi Bhav. So here in this first verse of the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Nectar of Devotion, Akhila-rasamrita-murti Prasimara Ruchi Rudha Tarakapali Kalita Shyama Lalito Radha Priyan Vidur Jayati. So Sanskrit is a very wonderful language, very deep, and the scholars, they can draw out many meanings of the different words which are there. And but the primary meaning which is there, which of course the acharyas have explained, especially Jiva Goswami, he has given a very beautiful commentary on that verse for our understanding, and then the acharyas in our sampradaya following Jiva Goswami, they have also commented and they have elaborated on this beautiful verse and the commentary also. So Krishna, so Vidur Jayati, all glories to Vidur the moon. That refers to Krishna Chandra, Sri Krishna himself. So he is the embodiment, Akhila-rasamrita-murti. Murti means a form of the Lord, or so the embodiment of Rasamrit, Akhila-rasamrit, Ras-amrit, the nectar of the transcendental mellow of the loving exchange with his devotees. And so all the rasas are included in that, as explained by Rupa Goswami, as we can understand, the learned, realized devotees can understand. And not only the primary rasas, the 5 primary rasas of Shanta, Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya and Madhurya ras, but even the secondary rasas, as are explained in the Nectar of Devotion by Rupa Goswami himself. But specifically, of course, we are more inclined to hear about the primary rasas, and more specifically about the relationship of Krishna with his most dear, the gopis. But we should understand that all the associates of Krishna in Shanta, Dasya, Sakya and Vatsalya, they have their role to play in Krishna's Lila. But as the Acharyas have explained, and even in the first verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam, Janmadi Asya, Janmadi, so externally referring to the creation of this world, and Satyam Param Dhimahi, we meditate on Satyam, the absolute truth, Param, Satyam Param, the absolute truth, again that is Krishna, Dhimahi, we meditate. So who is the source of everything? He is the source of all the spiritual material worlds. And here specifically Janma, that may refer to creation, Adi, and then the maintenance and destruction. But the Acharyas have explained that there's the more internal meaning is there, that Janma Adi, that refers to the Adiras, that refers to the loving exchange between Krishna and the gopis, that is known as Adiras. The original mellow, that is Radha Krishna's loving exchange. But all the other rasas, they're there and they're supplementing, so to say, and they're facilitating for Radha and Krishna's wonderful pastimes. So Rupa Goswami, so he is indicated in Mangalacharan verse, and Mangalacharan verse, as explained in Chaitanya Charitamrita, that is to define what is actually the subject matter of this book. And then implied in there, of course, is offering obeisances, Jayati, all glories to Krishna, who is the embodiment of all rasas. And then that is also implied that if we offer obeisances to our Ishtadev, Krishna, then automatically the blessings will be there, Ashirvad will be there. So in the Bhakti-rasamrita Sindhu, he has explained from Shraddha to Prem, first we must have some faith in the process of devotional service. In the beginning it may be ordinary faith, Lokik Shraddha, but in the sadhu sangha and the association of the devotees, especially those who are Shastravet, Siddhantavet, Rasa-tattvavet, who are knowledgeable in the scriptures, specifically in the scriptures given by the followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who know the conclusions of the scriptures thoroughly, and especially they are also Rasa-shastravet or Rasa-tattvavet, the knowledgeable in regards to Rasa-shastra and in regards to the transcendental mellow of the Brijavasis in Braj, and especially the highest rasa, the Madhurya ras. And as we know, Rupa Goswami is addressed as Rasacharya. Of course, also is addressed as this Abhideya Acharya, Sambandha Abhideya Prayojan, Tattva is there. First we have to have the preliminary knowledge that we are not this body, we are spiritual, and that we are servants of Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is residing in the spiritual land. But by misfortune we have come to this material world, and we should try to get out of this material world. So that preliminary knowledge is there, and we should understand that Rupa Goswami is not only Abhideyacharya, but he is giving Sambandhi Gyan, of course, also. But then specifically, he is giving the process by which we can advance. And he is giving it the goal. What is the goal of our sadhana bhakti? And that is to attain Krishna Prem, following the footsteps of the eternal associates of Krishna and Braj. So following rules and regulations that is required for the conditioned soul. Therefore even the acharyas, they follow the rules and regulations just to set the example. But then we should enter the realm of spontaneous love, Raganuga Bhakti. Because ultimately, so we know from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, the words of Mahaprabhu himself, that without following the footsteps of the Brijbasi, we can never attain Krishna and Braj. Therefore, Rupa Goswami has explained Sarana Bhakti first, Vaidhi Sarana Bhakti, and then Raganuga Sarana Bhakti, following the footsteps of the eternal associates of Krishna in Braj. And by doing that, we may come to the transcendental platform, and so by performing bhajana kriya under the guidance of the representative of Mahaprabhu and Krishna, and then we become free from anarthas, then we become fixed, and we attain ruchi, a taste for transcendental, for hearing transcendental subject matters, for chanting the holy names, for serving, and then we may become fully attached to Krishna, asakti, and then bhav may manifest by good fortune in good association. And then he has explained the 5 relationships for the devotees who are aspiring to enter Braj Bhakti and to attain perfection. And he has explained first, it is known as Shantarati, so attraction will be there towards Krishna. Ras is not yet there in the conditioned state, it is not possible. Although by nature, our relationship with Krishna is already there, but it is not manifest because of our being conditioned by the modes of material nature. But by association of the eternal associates of the Lord, so our rati, our attraction, affection for Krishna in one of the rasas will be manifested surely by following the process. So Shantarati, Dasyarati, Sakyarati, Vatsalyarati, and Madhuryarati. And then, by good fortune, if we come to the transcendental plane, and then by studying the Akhila-rasamrita-murti Sri, then we may then understand the ingredients by which the ras will be manifested. First of all, understanding always and being completely fixed at the lotus feet of Krishna, of course, under the guidance of the spiritual master, and ultimately we are known as Upanuga Vaishnavas under the guidance of Rupa Goswami, and in purified consciousness under the guidance of our Guru Saki, and then under the guidance of Rupa Manjari, under the shelter of Lalita Devi, and of course Srimati Radharani herself, who is the Ashai Vigraha. And then there will be a loving exchange with Krishna, and so by the different emotions coming from the soul proper in Bhavavasta, and then the ras will be produced. But that is in the liberated state. So that is all indicated or nicely explained, but it is indicated in the Mangalacharan verse, and then it is nicely explained by Rupa Goswami in the Akhila-rasamrita-murti Sri, and then Prasimara Ruchi Ruda Taraka Pali. So it's explaining about the different gopis. Kalita Shama Lalita Radha Prayam Vilur Jayati. Because Mahaprabhu specifically, he came to give Gopi Bhav, which of course is not so easily attained, that is only possible when we are purified in consciousness. So then we can really follow. But so the subject matter has been explained to a nice extent in the Akhila-rasamrita-murti Sri. And then even further on, Ujjwal Nilamani has been given by Rupa Goswami, and there, so he has explained in more details about the different gopis. But interestingly enough also, just that we understand that all the Brijvasis are to be, or all the associates of Krishna are to be respected. And he has explained in the beginning of Ujjwal Nilamani about the different other rasas also very briefly, and how they are actually assisting in the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. They're giving the animals, and then the servants of Krishna, the friends of Krishna, Maria Yashoda and Nanda Baba. But then in great length in Ujjwal Nilamani, so he has explained about the different gopis. And so here, 4 gopis are mentioned, Tarakapali. And so Krishna, so is of course Param Purush, and in Tattva Vichar, in the consideration of the absolute truth, is Saravigya, all-knowing, Sarashvarya Purna Bhagavan. So the all opulences which are mentioned of Bhagavan in the scriptures, he is having them to the fullest extent, being actually the source of everything. Full Aishwarya, the most beautiful form is there, seen in the personality of Krishna. Nobody can equal Krishna in beauty, in riches, in opulence, in fame, in knowledge and renunciation. So here Tarakampali, so some different acharyas have given different understandings of the different gopis, but basically, there are 4 kinds of gopis. Swapaksha, that refers to the gopis in Srimati Radharani's group. So Srimati Radharani is the most dear, Sham Priya, Damodar Priya, Krishna Priya. And she's the eternal consort of Krishna, the embodiment of the pleasure potency. And Krishna is the embodiment of the, of course, is the embodiment of all potencies, but specifically Samvit Shakti, the knowledge potency. And and Radha Krishna are one, but they become 2 to perform wonderful pastimes. So it's all about Radha and Krishna. But everyone is assisting in the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. So those most dear to Srimati Radharani, they are known as Swapaksha gopis. The gopis in Srimati Radharani's group. Those, especially those of the same age of Srimati Radharani, Lalita, Vishaka, Champakalata, Chitra, Tungavidya, Induleka, Rangadevi and Sudevi, the Ashtasakis. They have the same age practically, or just as Srimati Radharani, so they are very dear Paramprishta Sakis. And then, of course, the Priya Sakis are there, Prana Sakis, Nitya Sakis, and the ordinary Sakis. And then, very prominent, of course, are the Manjaris, and very dear to Srimati Radharani is Rupa Manjari, who is most dear, who is assisting the divine couple or serving the divine couple and the loving exchange in the Nikunja Leela, where not even Lalita and Vishaka may be present there. So Lalita is indicated here, Swapaksha Gopi, and then those are very friendly to Srimati Radharani, but they are not in her group. They are known as the Surit Gopi, they're friendly. And so Shama is one of them. Shaman is one, Shamala also. So different gopis are there. So in the friendly group, and then there is the Tatashta, those who are neutral, and they are slightly friendly towards Chandravali, Vipaksha Gopi, those who are opposite, rival party, headed by Chandravali. So Taraka is Tatashta and Pali is in the Paksha of Chandravali. So here is mentioned that actually Krishna is bringing Taraka and Palika under his control, Palika or Pali, saying, by the diffusion of his beauty, Krishna is most beautiful, and everyone becomes, of course, attracted or enamored by Krishna's beauty and controlled by his beauty. So even Srimati Radharani, but at the same time Srimati Radharani, so she is most expert in giving pleasure to Krishna, and she is most beautiful, so much so that she is even able to attract Krishna, who is known as Madan Mohan, who is attracting all in the spiritual world, and even Cupid of this material world is completely devastated by the beauty of Krishna. But Krishna is attracted to the beauty of Srimati Radharani because of our most exalted loving sentiments, Mahabhav Sarupini, the embodiment of the highest form of love, and then Rurubhav, Anirurubhav, Madan Mohan, Madanakya Bhav, which is only there in the personality of Srimati Radharani. So she gives pleasure to Krishna. And then Krishna at the same time, so he's also giving pleasure to Srimati Radharani. And and as we know that, so 8 times of gopis also mentioned in Ujjvala Nilamani, actually 360 times of nayikas are there, heroines are there. And so Srimati Radharani, she is of course ultimately the embodiment or the source of all these transcendental emotions, and it is mentioned just like Krishna is Adi Purush and all the other personalities of Godhead are expansion of him. So similarly Srimati Radharani, she is the original goddess of fortune, and all the other goddesses of fortune are simply expansions of Srimati Radharani. So Srila Rupa Goswami, for our understanding, so he has very nicely explained about the different rasas, and then specifically, so he has explained about the Adiras, which is indicated here in this verse. So by explaining about the 4 kinds of gopis which are there, and which he has then also more elaborately explained in Ujjvala Nilamani for our understanding, and so that in the future, when we may be qualified to enter the realm of Raganuga Bhakti more deeply and come to the level of Bhav Bhakti, then we may understand these transcendental emotions which are described first of all in the Akhila-rasamrita-murti of the Bhavavasta, and then further explained in the Ujjvala Nilamani. And then by studying this Akhila-rasamrita-murti and then Ujjvala Nilamani, then we can imbibe that mood of these gopis, and then actually our actual Sarup will be revealed, and our nature towards Krishna, especially if we belong to the Madhurya Ras, which being in the Sampradaya, following Rupa Goswami, known as Rupa Vaishnavas, following first Rupa Goswami and then Rupa Manjari. So it is understood that most of the devotees, like most of our acharyas in our Sampradaya, so they belong to the Madhurya Ras. So it is expected that most of the devotees, they may also enter the realm of Madhurya Ras, and then by reading this Sri Bhakti-rasamrita-sindhu, and then later on Ujjvala Nilamani, or even preferably or even better under the guidance of the more exalted Vaishnavas, who may then share their deep realizations, and then so we can imbibe the mood of the acharyas, and then because they have realized, just like the previous acharyas in our line, Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayana Maharaj, and of course his spiritual master and Bhakti Siddhanta, so many of the disciples of Bhakti Siddhanta and Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. So these are all realized souls, and those who have had the opportunity to be in their association, then by trying to serve them nicely, and by hearing Krishna Katha, and of course Guru Katha also, by which we can become qualified, because Mahaprabhu has given. And if so as explained by the Acharyas, if Mahaprabhu would not have appeared, who would have come to know about the transcendental loving sentiments and exchange of Sri Radha and Krishna? And then, if Rupa Goswami, Shri Rupa Sharira Nadharite, if Rupa Goswami would not have appeared, who would have understood then the mood of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? And again, the loving exchanges between the divine couple specifically. And what we should understand that some may be there who may have Vatsalya Ras also, or Sakya Ras, or Dasya Ras also. That may be there. Just like in Mahaprabhu's pastimes, the different associates are there, and some are there in Vatsalya Ras, some may be there in Sakya Ras or Dasya Ras. But primarily, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and then specifically Rupa Goswami, so he having we understood the desire of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, so specifically to give, so this Madhurya Bhav. So the process by which we can advance and by which we may be able to enter that realm, and then by which we may attain perfection, Sarup Siddhi. And upon attaining perfection, then we may enter the pastimes of Krishna in one of the universes and attain Vastu Siddhi, which is the goal of life. So we're trying our best to make as much advancement in this lifetime. And of course we hope against hope, we hope for perfection in this life. But if not, then next lifetime we have a better chance, and hopefully more association, so that we may attain perfection in our life. My time is up. Hare Krishna. On time today, right?
Very good.
Mukunda Dutta Prabhu, over 30 years.